Now, rise and shout. It is time for What's Trending. What's Trending presented by BYU Food to Go, the MVP of your next event. College football made some news late last week, and this is our first opportunity to discuss what it means on the show with 3 new rules that have officially been ratified and put into play in an effort to shorten games. They include, number 1, no consecutive timeouts. Number 2, no untimed down at the end of the first and or third quarter. And 3, the clock runs after first downs except inside the final 2 minutes of either half. Jason, when you look at these 3 rule changes that we will see as BYU now ventures into the Big 12, are the rule changes good overall, not just for BYU or the Cougars in the Big 12, but for college football as a sport?
Look, I think they are. Look, the one that's getting the most play right now is that you don't have the clock stopped after first downs.
Yeah, people don't like it.
People don't like it. I honestly don't have a problem with it. And look, we have started to see this more and more in all sports. The most recent prior to this was Major League Baseball with the pitch clock. And not just the pitch clock, but you have a clock on when a batter needs to get into the batter's box. And it has significantly sped up games. You see it in both Major League Baseball and you see it in college baseball as well. I love what it's done for baseball. I think it's significantly improved the product because it's knocking close to 25 to 30 minutes off of games in some kind.
Baseball needed it desperately.
Baseball needed it desperately. Now, I'm not necessarily sure that people were clamoring for it as much in college football, but I do not have a problem if the games are sped up a little bit. And I know that, you know, there's a certain number of plays that you may not necessarily have. At the end of the day, if you get more action and you get it quicker, I don't have a problem with it. I think at the end of the day, if you can knock some time off, and everyone, like people that bring just play less commercials. Look,
commercials are paramount for the
not going
financing
away.
involved.
Yes, that take is not valid. That's never going to happen. I understand what you're saying, but that doesn't make any sense because that's what keeps it going. And quite frankly, that's going to be that they're probably going to get longer. They're probably doing this because they know that they're going to start selling more spots, and so they got to make up the time somewhere. I do not have a problem if the game is sped up and you have quicker games. I think at the end of the day, everybody, while they're maybe griping about it now because it's a change, I think at the end of the day, they're like, yeah, I kind of like this.
Do BYU fans like the idea of $31.6 million per year with the new TV contract as it pertains to only football and the idea of $50 million per year per Big 12 program? It's all about advertising.
Yeah.
Yes, the NCAA tournament dollars, and that factors into it to a degree, but it's primarily advertising commercials in college football. So I know it's annoying to have so many timeouts and long, lengthy breaks, but that's not going away. So, yeah, you want to speed up the game, then you take away significant revenue for each of these major college football programs. You can't do it. I don't mind that the pace of play has sped up. Yeah, I don't like the idea of losing on average 7 plays per game, but guess what? College football teams are going to figure out how to get those plays in the sped up scenario. It's going to happen. Whether teams decide to go a little bit more up tempo in general, huddle less, it's going to be fine. It's not going to, I don't think people are really going to notice like a significant difference in the game other than, oh yeah, maybe the first quarter and the third quarter go a little bit faster, Jason. Like in the second quarter and the fourth quarter, because the clock does stop after first downs in the final 2 minutes and coaches still have timeouts, it's not going to be like that noticeable of a difference.
The last couple of minutes are still going to take an hour to play. Don't worry for all you that want all your time
That's
of college football.
exactly what I'm saying.
You're still going to have an hour to play 20 minutes.
It's not going to change that dramatic part of the game that much. Sure, it'd be fun to have 7 more plays, but it's not that big of a difference. After a few games in a few weeks and you're into conference context and the rankings are out and you got other things to complain about and your team's not as good as you thought they were going to be or they're better than they thought you were, you're all going to be focused on different things. You're not going to be focused on, well, there are no consecutive timeouts anymore.
It's like I really like that ice in the kicker thing.
Really hung up on that one. It will add a new dynamic to it. Will it mean that college kickers all of a sudden become a little bit better? Probably not. Like, that's why all of the ESPN college football analysts just term them college kickers, because they're always pointing out the mistakes made. No consecutive timeouts is not going to make that much of a difference, because kickers in general at the collegiate level still, they struggle under pressure. Not faulting them. It's a terrible position to be in, because you make it, yeah, you're awesome, but you miss it, the whole world's against you. I'm fine with all of these. The no on time down at the end of the first quarter and third quarter is a no-brainer to me. I'm not even sure why that wasn't in place before. It just feels like we should get that going to help the energy of the game and the pace of the game just continue on. But I think it's good for college football. I'm a fan. Let's go. I know there are some people that are like, no, I want 4.5-hour games. I want longer. Like, we don't get so, and that Jeremy has said that, like, well, we only get so many games. Like, I want to enjoy it as much as possible. At some point, it just becomes a drag, especially in a blowout,
I'll
non-exciting
take quality
game.
over quantity.
100%. Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Well, look, and everybody freaks out with change anyway. We don't like change, regardless of the situation. And to go back to the baseball situation, everybody was griping about it. Now it's almost universally loved.
It's enjoyable.
Like, yeah, I actually kind of like that.
The sport's enjoyable.
Yeah, exactly. Something that's not enjoyable. Women's college basketball's leading rebounder announced yesterday that she's entering the transfer portal. That would be BYU's Lauren Gustin. She made it official on Instagram yesterday. Spencer, how does Gustin entering the transfer portal affect BYU women's basketball next season?
It significantly impacts BYU in that you lose 17 rebounds a game and the nation's leading rebounder overall. Exactly. Where does BYU go to get the muscle inside, just the non-stop Energizer Bunny type player that Lauren Gustin was? She's so unique in that regard, and I know she's undersized, and there should be more size in the Big 12 overall. So maybe her numbers dip a little bit once she gets into a Power 5 conference, Jason. But frankly, she'd still do her thing. I'd still expect her to get 12 to 13 rebounds a game and give BYU, 4 or 5 more opportunities on the offensive glass per game. So I'm bummed out. It's only 1 year. And it happens to be the year that BYU now goes to the Big 12. So if we're talking about quantifying how does it affect BYU in the Big 12 standings, I expected the Cougars to compete for top 5, top 6 spot in Big 12 play. I feel like this drops them down a couple of notches. So now it's like, well, it'd be great if BYU could finish in the top 8 of the conference. I think Lauren Gustin is that much of an impact player because of the additional chances that she creates and just the energy she brings to the floor. You're in the huddle. You see what it's like. You're around Coach Whiting and what Lauren does. I know that she has had her struggles at times offensively and gets frustrated and hasn't been great from the free throw line. But Jason, overall, the product of what she brings to BYU elevates the team overall. And I think it's good to the tune of 2 spots in league play.
The thing that stands out for me, beyond the fact that she led the country in rebounds, and we know just she was a double-double machine last year. I mean, you could just pencil it in. Pin it in.
Jason, we were like, oh, she had 17 points and 16 rebounds. Cool.
Yeah.
Like, think about that. It was just like so normal.
And it was not crazy for her to be in the mid-20s for rebounds. Like, we saw that so many times.
2020 games were like, oh yeah, she's done it again.
Like you don't want to get ho-hum about it, but that's what she was doing. So losing a player like that's gonna affect you. And what we don't know is, all we know is that Lauren made the decision to enter the transfer portal. I'm going to assume that means there's maybe at least a chance maybe she comes back. Now, I don't know that. That's not with any inside information. That's just me. Because anytime somebody goes into the transfer portal, a lot of times coming back is still an option. So I would think I would hope that that's still an option.
Let's go ahead and officially put that out from BYU Sports Nation. This is independent of anybody in BYU.
Yeah, this is not coming from anywhere.
From you and I. Lauren, if you decide to come back and play for BYU and you're one of the Big 12, we will roll out the blue carpet. It will be a massive welcome party for you.
Yeah, what we don't know, all we have is the announcement from Lauren. We don't know if this was something that was mutually agreed upon by both sides. So this was a shock to me. I did not see this coming. And if she was going to enter the portal, you would have thought it would have happened last year when you went through the coaching change. And so things were a little different. That maybe I thought that the fact that she had come back last year meant that she was going to be here through the duration of her playing career. And especially coming off a season like that she had last year, I would have expected you to come back in, you go into the Big 12. And like you, I fully expected BYU to be in that upper echelon of the conference going into next year when you think of the influx of talent that's coming in and some really high-octane guards coming into this program. Like you have that type of offense, and then you have a rebounder. And the other part about her game is how many second-chance opportunities does she give the BYU offense?
That's what I'm saying, and kick out for an open three.
It's just like so many second-chance points come off of her rebounds. So to not have that, that's going to affect BYU. I just don't know how it can't.
In the long run, because it's only 1 year, it's like, oh, man, okay, yeah, it's not going to impact BYU because she only has 1 year of eligibility left. And they got Jenna Asai and Mari Whiting coming in. And in fact, the Whitings are going to join us on BYU Sports Nation tomorrow. We're going to talk about all of this, like the Lauren Gustin situation. They've done extremely well recruiting internationally. Emma Calvert's coming back. Like, there are some pieces in play. Nani Falatea, great player. BYU's going to be okay, but there's no getting around that she does have an impact.
Here's what I know about Coach Whiting and the staff. Based off of the talent that they've been able to bring into the program just in the first year, this might be a blow now. They will get talent into this program.
They already have.
There is no question in my mind they will be able to find talent to put into the program that goes into the Big 12 next year. I have no doubt in my mind about that.
All right. On to our question of the day. We've discussed two major trending topics today. We are focusing on college football and the recent rule changes that have been ratified by those in positions of power. Are the new rule changes, which essentially speed up the game, good for the game overall? Nathan Gunnell on Instagram says, I don't mind them, just as long as they don't add the fourth one they talked about where the clock wouldn't stop on an incomplete pass. That's not going to happen. Like, the time for making changes like that has come and passed. Like, we've seen the changes.
It's not a true running clock.
No.
That's not what it is.
Continue to weigh in. #BYUSN, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.